Konnichiwa, hello, and welcome. This is Roy at Goji Ranger 90, and today I will be reviewing the S.H.MonsterArts Godzilla Final Wars Monster X figure, and I got some things to say about it. So, let's get things started. And now, here we have the S.H.MonsterArts Godzilla Final Wars Monster X in all of his evil Exilian space monster glory. As you can see, this kaiju is mainly comprised of the color scheme of black and sort of this bone white silver color. As you can see, he is an evil space monster, technically. He was created by the Exilians to try to take over Earth before he turns into Kaiser Ghidorah, where he is eventually defeated by Godzilla. But yeah, as you can see, this is a highly detailed figure sculpted by the famous S.H.MonsterArts sculptor himself, the man, the myth, the legend. We all know him, Yuji Sakai, although we never met him. But we all know about him because he's the sculptor for S.H.MonsterArts. Detail-wise, like I said, you can see all the different sort of weathered bone white, silver, sort of like stone rocky armor all throughout on the different parts of the body of Monster X. He has these double unicorn horns right here, sort of unicorn-like horns on the top of his head. He has one in the front and another one, a longer one, slightly longer one right behind it. We also see he also has a smaller horn coming off the front horn in the front, and we can get a closer look and see those very evil-looking Monster X eyes that he has. He also looks very reminiscent to a skeleton, technically. So technically, this kaiju is kind of almost, sort of, I would say maybe inspired by like the Grim Reaper, maybe, because I mean, he was meant to be like the last monster that Godzilla fought in the Millennium series, which was originally intended to be the last Godzilla film, but yeah, that is no longer the last Godzilla film as of recent years. So yeah, now that we've got the legendary Monsterverse and we've got the Reiwa era going on in Japan, kicking off with Shin Godzilla, and now we have -1 as well as the continuation of the legendary series. So it's interesting to see where that goes after the new Empire and -1. So anyway, taking a closer look, we can see he has the shoulder armor that resembles almost like two extra split heads that basically becomes two other heads when he turns into Kaiser Ghidorah. And they are also articulated and removable, as you can see. So we can pop these off, and these collarbones, like these collarbone neck cord pieces, they are also articulated as well, so you can move them if you want to. So there's that, you can move. But anyway, if you want to, you can also bring these head pieces these shoulder armor head pieces together, skull pieces, and you could almost kind of create a full Monster X skull with this. Kind of almost reminds me of Shao Kahn's helmet from Mortal Kombat when you do that. So pop these back on these ball joints at the top. So that's basically what you do. Pop that on there. And also he has these rubber pads on his shoulders as well. That is also removable. So just put that back on. I'm just showing you how this does have removable pieces, so just so you can be careful. Alright, got that in. So yeah, so technically, articulation wise, the head can look up about that much, we can look down about that much, we can look right, we can look left. We can't really, well, we can try, so I'm gonna take this head off if I can. Yes, we can get a full 360 rotation and the opposite way, although to do so you would have to pop off the shoulder armor pieces. So pop these two shoulder armor skull pieces back on. So give me a second here. Alright. And also we have some good neck articulation as well. The neck can look down about that much, so we can also move side to side as well. And of course the mouth is on a hinge, so we can open that mouth really wide. We can see all those evil looking teeth inside of his mouth. Evil skeleton looking teeth, almost like Skeletor, I guess. And of course we do have an ab crunch, so we can bend him all the way down and back up. We also do have a little rotation in the waist, but yeah, I wouldn't try to move it a full 360. You can, but it's very risky, and I'm not doing it. Arm articulation, these shoulders are on a butterfly style ball joint, so we can move them forward and back like so. Same is true with the other side. We do have a good bicep swivel, although mine was tight out the box and I really had to do some modifications to fix it, but as you can see, it is doable, like so. We also have a good double joint hinge at the elbow as well, so there is that. Same is true with the other arm. We also have a fully ball jointed wrist as well, so we can swivel those hands all the way around a full 360 and rock them forward and back like so, if we choose to. He also comes with interchangeable hands if we want to swap out the hands from these sort of claw finger hands to these more splayed open hands. We can do that. So technically what you do is you just pop them off the ball joint like so. Just like this. So that's the only accessories this figure comes with. So yeah, I think for for over $100 they should give you better accessories than just a pair of hands. They should have given you like a lightning beam or something that you could put on a Tamashii Nation stand. But anyway, yeah, his hands basically peg in like that. They don't want to stay in too well, but that's about the best I can get it. But yeah, you can definitely change out the hands if you want to, but I'm just gonna put his cringing finger hands in that he comes out the box with, technically. So I'm gonna put his, yeah, there we go. Also, do be careful with the bony spikes on the wrist, or I mean on the top of the hand, kind of like where he has this bony armor on top of his knuckles, because yeah, I don't know if you could see it, but that is sharp. And there is some sharp pointy pieces on these figures, so obviously not for kids. I do not recommend these for children. This is S.H.MonsterArts. This is mainly meant to be adult collectibles, so yeah, not a kid's toy. So I even say that about Power Rangers Lightning Collection. It says ages 4+ for some of the articulation and for some of the material is made out of. I don't think I would give that to a 4-year-old, but anyway, that's just my opinion. But yeah, I think overall this is a good figure. And the back, as you can see, he kind of has this like these bony rock armor in the back as well, sort of almost like a small mountain sticking out of his back, almost. If you take a close look at that, looking really nice. Sort of like the aggro crag from Guts. You remember Guts from Nickelodeon? That's kind of, I would say he's kind of almost like has the aggro crag on his back, technically. But anyway, back of the tail. Tail is fully articulated. He has bony spikes coming out of his tail. And we also have a double whip tip at the end of the tail. Kind of reminds me of a dragon's tongue. Sort of. Technically, the tail is on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ball joints if you count the 2 double edge tips. So we can put the tail in various different poses until it pops off. So yeah, the tail pops apart a lot on this one, so do be careful. So yeah, as you can see, the tip of the tail does not stay on all that well when you pose it around. So playability with the tail, yeah, I'm already taking points off, you know that. But yeah, tips of the tail are really cool, so you can articulate them how you want. But as you can see, yeah, they are prone to popping off pretty easily as well. So trying to keep that in camera so you guys can see it. So I'm just going to show you one more time how easily that pops off. See, not fun. That's one of the reasons why I just really don't like buying S.H.MonsterArts anymore. But like I say, I may or may not get it back into collecting them. It all depends. But anyway, getting back into the rest of the figure, going to leg articulation now. The legs or all the hips are on butterfly style ball joints again, so you can pull them down, and we can kind of split out about that much if we want to. We can kick, matter of fact, we can bring the legs all the way around a full 360. Speaking of which, so we can definitely kick forward and back down. Same is true with the other side, and back down. We do have a double joint hinge at the knee as well, so we can bend those knees and put them back down. And we also have a swivel at the ankle, so we can swivel those feet all the way around, and we can point them forward and back up, so we can do different martial arts poses and kicks with Monster X as well. So we can do all that good stuff. So yeah, because like the Final Wars Kaiju is kind of made for like martial arts combat, technically. Because yeah, I think Final Wars is the only movie I actually see Godzilla throw a 360 roundhouse kick, or what some people would call a hurricane kick. He did that with to Anguirus, and yeah, and in some of the final fight scenes with Monster X, of course. But yeah, this is an overall really cool figure. Highly recommend it if you can get them for a decent price. I wouldn't recommend overpaying for S.H.MonsterArts figures, because yeah, like I said, I'm definitely on the fence with collecting them because of the all the quality control issues for the price. I feel like that should be non-existent for the crazy price tags we're already paying. So that's why. But anyway, guys, it is now time for me to get into my final verdict and giving you my final thoughts and opinions, and giving this figure a final score based on detail, articulation, and playability. So let's get to it. And now for my final verdict on the S.H.MonsterArts Godzilla Final Wars Monster X figure here. If I have to give this one a final score based on detail, articulation, and playability, I have to give him a drum roll, please. A well-deserved solid 4.5 stars. Why? Technically, I think the detail is solid. Articulation is definitely top-notch. However, playability is a bit complicated. Um, Although, like, you can pose him around, but you need to hit this with a lot of heat, like, out of the box, and you really have to be careful removing the overly tight joints and applying dish soap and then popping them back on. But once you have that done, this figure will be solid for the most part. But however, it does have his weak points in at least one area, and that being, as you can see, the tail right here, like I said, tends to, yeah, fall off like nobody's business. And yeah, it's probably because I was like, you're like, well, you're just like, just doing that and you're making it fall off. Technically, yeah, I am putting some force to it, but technically for figures we're paying in the triple digits for, should not be popping off like that. There should be more of a solid connection, so there should be more friction going on here. So yeah, we shouldn't have that popping off, especially not if we try to pose it. So that's why I'm taking points off. But other than that, I think overall this figure is solid, and he's a definite recommended one for your Godzilla or Kaiju collection. So I would definitely go for it, but I wouldn't overpay. I wouldn't pay anything over like $115, $120 for this one, or at least $100, or maybe like at least $80 to $95 at the most. This is not one I would recommend like paying like crazy high aftermarket prices for, especially not for the 300 for. Once this starts getting up there in price, if it's not reissued, if it sells out, I would just skip it. But other than that, like I said, it's a really good, solid figure, but it just has its issues with the tail, technically. But anyway, that pretty much concludes it for my review on this figure. Definitely like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys all so much for watching if you made it this far into the video. And as always, take care, stay safe, God bless, and peace out.